If I may begin with the opening remarks. Dear family and friends, today we gather to honor and celebrate the nearly 74 years of life lived by our beloved Iain Peter Turner. As we mourn his passing, we also celebrate his life and the countless ways in which he touched our hearts. We unite here to participate in this solemn act of final farewell to Iain, his cremation. It's a ritual that has been practiced for centuries all over the world, always serving as a dignified symbol of love, respect, and gratitude for the life of the deceased. In this moment of sorrow and reflection, let us take comfort in the knowledge that Iain will always be with us in spirit. Let us take solace in the memories that we shared, the laughter we enjoyed, the warmth we received, and the many lessons that we all have learned from him. May this gathering bring us all a sense of peace and closure as we bid farewell to our dear Iain. And then let us go forward and honor his legacy by continuing to live our lives with love, compassion, good humor, and kindness towards one another. On behalf of his wife, their 3 children, and their grandchildren, I thank every one of you for being here this afternoon, so that we may support one another during this difficult time of acceptance that Iain has indeed departed. Let us draw comfort from the knowledge that Iain is now at peace, no longer suffering from the persistent pains he had endured throughout his final years, and that he is now reunited with loved ones who had gone before him. Thank you all for coming today to pay tribute and bid a fond farewell to our Iain Peter Turner. May he rest in perfect peace for eternity. May I invite you to do last respects, I think starting from here and goes around that way. Anybody? Roberta Turner, who says to us, "Hello everyone, thank you for coming to pay your last respects to Iain. I very much wish that I could be here, but unfortunately it is not possible. Iain lived a very rich and full life, overflowing with the experiences that he had and all the people he enjoyed meeting. Many of these people turned into friends, and some of them are here today to celebrate his life. Iain told me before he went to Dar that he had so many friends in Tanzania, and that many of them called him Babu, and many others who considered him their mentor. That meant a great deal to him, and he was proud to have such positive effect on the lives of others. The messages of kindness and sympathy left by his circle of friends on Daniel McKinsey's Facebook page have been a great comfort to my children and I." Saman, karibuni. Karibuni. Iain moved to Liberia, where we met in his early 20s, and was bit by the Africa bug from then on. Before that, though, he made his mark in Canada, where we raised our 3 children. He was very proud of being Canadian, even if it was a bit too cold for him. Volunteering was his way to show that pride, whether as part of the Kinsmen, fundraising for charities, or as a volunteer firefighter. His community and friends were always important to him, no matter where he lived. For reference, Kinsmen are a service club organization in Canada that works to better communities, enhance the well-being of Canadians, and improve the environment, and he was very much a part of this. She continues, "Our daughter Gillian and I were having a conversation reminiscing about Iain's life in England and Canada. His life of adventure started out quite young, being raised in a youth hostel run by his parents, Cliff and Beatrice, and meeting a whole variety of travelers. That's probably why he was always so gregarious around new people. She enjoyed listening to his stories of being a teenager, striking out on his own travels, hitchhiking across Europe and the UK. He often boasted that he knew how to order a beer in 7 different languages. One of the best memories he had of those years was of visiting a music festival and getting to meet the great guitarist Jimi Hendrix. Iain was always a huge fan of music, and he passed that love to Gillian, especially folk music like the Spinners and the Descendants. She credits her love for everything British and travel to her dad. Our youngest son Keegan has this to share. If you've seen younger photos of my father, then you have seen me. And more than that, you know me too, for I picked up much of my personality and identity from him without realizing it. I may have gone into architecture, but I have been told that I act more like an engineer, for which I have my father to thank. I didn't get to spend as much time as I've liked with him. Though he was on the other side of the world for most of my life, he would always reach out to chat. Even so, after my daughter Brenna was born. Like him, it is easy for me to meet new people over a pint. So to his friends here and now, past and present, if you run into a stranger that looks like Iain, just know that he will always be ready to share a story and buy the first round. There are also many stories I could tell about the 50 years we spent together. That's his wife and him, 50 years of marriage. We shared memories of driving a dune buggy in Liberia, or going on a sailing ship cruise for our 10th anniversary, or canoeing down a long Canadian river with a bunch of friends. I think Iain would say his best memory was of being able to take my children and I on safari and showing off the parks to us like if they were his own special gifts to us. His enthusiasm for life and all it offered was wonderful. She concludes with, Iain was not a religious man, but he respected everyone's beliefs. It would be most kind of each of you to wish him farewell in whatever manner that suits you best and brings peace to your heart. I have no doubt he would very much appreciate it all. Thank you for being here today. Signed, Roberta. We have also a message from his son and daughter-in-law. It's one text. So this is Brian now. The other son was Keegan, who was quoted in the previous message. So Brian says, my dad absolutely loved to be around people and to travel in general. He loved Tanzania and cherished the warmth of those who he surrounded himself with. He especially loved his beer, F1 races and nights at Jackie's High Table. While I'm not surprised he kept going back, I personally would love to have had him home a lot more. I find comfort in the fact that he was not alone. He had so many friends like you to spend quality time with. I would like to publicly acknowledge 2 of those friends in particular, Stephen Holmes and David Sauer. In these past few days, they've both shown incredible kindness, empathy, and compassion in their steadfast attempts to help his family bring him home. You both truly honor my dad. He was very fortunate to have had you as friends. Just prior to leaving for Tanzania 25 years ago, my dad worked at a little place called St. Andrew Goldfields near Timmins, Ontario, which is where the family lives right now. He was with management, overseeing safety, security, and human resources. I still remember him coming up the stairs at our home and presenting me with an offer of employment at St. Andrews. I was excited to have a job, and one which allowed me to essentially work alongside him, in a much lower capacity, of course. Our drive each morning was over half an hour to get to work. So we either got to chat or listen to the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation on the radio. I was initially put into the Geology Exploration Department, but quickly moved on to mineral processing. I say all of this because the Geology Department is where I met and quickly became enamored with my geologist boss, a Greek lady named Georgia, who had been working there longer than my dad. About a month after I started work, I decided to send her flowers. However, I didn't have her address, so I asked my dad. I remember him handing over to me a piece of paper with her address, while looking at me with a mischievous grin. I am so grateful that he took that chance. It is because of him that I met the love of my life, the mother of my 2 children whom I adore more than life itself. 26 years later, we're still going strong. Thank you, Dad. As I sit here thinking about St. Andrew's Goldfields, I remember a Christmas party they hosted in which the song Macarena came on. Several people in the hall were dancing, doing all the quirky moves that were popular with that song. And at the center of it all, my dad was absolutely crushing it. He had every move down pat, eyes closed while singing along and truly enjoying himself. Apparently, the love of that dance has endured through my 11-year-old daughter Iain, his namesake, as to this day, she regularly shows up in front of me to do that same dance. I have some very fond early memories of my dad. He taught me to fish, portage with a canoe, how to play backgammon and chess. He brought me to all my early hockey games, giggling with me in the stands a few times, after telling me to go score a goal, and miraculously, I did so right after. It is interesting how things come a full circle. My own 9-year-old son, Nikias, loves to be around people, to travel, to canoe, is extremely good at chess, and even more interestingly, has a love for football or soccer. Even though he was gone from home for so much of these past 25 years, he was always missed and always loved. I miss bugging him about the tiny cigarette paths he shoveled in winter while he was home. I'll miss him showing up at my door early in the morning with his laptop in hand, asking me to fix it. I'll even miss him asking, may I make a suggestion, after every one of my recently completed projects. The one thing I'll miss the most is his voice greeting me with a kind eyebrow. Before concluding, here's a short message from Brian's wife, the one who we mentioned of 27 years. I met Iain 27 years ago. He was my colleague, and later on he became my father-in-law. These past few days I've been thinking a lot about Iain, something I'm sure all of you have also done. What I found surprising is that I have never had a negative interaction with him. Not one. My face lit up every time I saw him. I truly enjoyed his company, and he did mine. He always liked to talk shop with me, talk about the mining industry, and the fact that exploration and mining companies in Canada should be drilling a lot deeper for mineral resources, and he was right about that one. On his last trip to Canada, we were talking about the house he grew up in, which is now in Airbnb Place in the UK. That we should go on a trip there together. He should show us around, show his grandchildren where he used to live as a child, and tell them about his adventures. We will not get to take this trip together. Another regret, another missed opportunity. Life is short. We shouldn't miss opportunities to be with the people we love. It is very difficult to accept that he is gone, but I take comfort in the thought that his spirit lives on in his children, his grandchildren, and in all of those of us who had the privilege to know him. They conclude with, we love you, Dad. We miss you dearly. Brian, Georgia, Iain, and Nikias. Thank you. May I now invite Steve to read his own eulogy.
I knew Iain for around 20 years. We first met at Keita Gold Mine up in the Lakeside, Then there was a newbie to Africa from Australia, and Iain had been here quite a few years before me. And it was my first role in health and safety in the mine in Africa. And Iain, I suppose, took me under his wing a little bit, although we worked in different departments in the mine, me in the mine itself, and Iain in the processing plant. And that's where Iain became the guru of hazardous chemicals, which he carried on with his career after mining into transport as previously, but they involved having a beer on a Wednesday evening at Jackie's bar and talking about work and cars and Formula One and everything else you can think of. And we also were very passionate about our sport of Formula One. It's not running or rugby or anything anymore. We don't do that. It's Formula One, which doesn't take much effort whatsoever. We never missed a race on a Sunday at the Q Bar during the season when we were in town. Our interest differed a little bit though. Iain was a mad Mercedes-Benz and Lewis Hamilton fan, and I'm not. So we had a difference of opinion a little bit there around the table. But Iain was very, very knowledgeable and about Formula One. And we sat there, two old fellas, analysing every single lap and every single decision that was made in that particular race. In fact, Iain became a bit of a celebrity because a couple of years ago he was a radio presenter or was interviewed on local radio on the preview, Formula One preview of that next Sunday's race. So yeah, that's how knowledgeable he was. So I knew Iain had been unwell for some time, and it was sad to see him going downhill. I mean, the Iain that I remember was a big, strong, fit person, full of life. But the last few years were not that. Sometimes he seemed to be on the up, and then other times I was worried, and I shared my worries, I think, with David and Steve. I'll miss Iain very much. We were friends for many years, and we had similar interests, and had many mutual friends, Tanzanians and expats alike. We both used to joke that we could walk into any bar, any town, and certainly any mine site in Tanzania, and someone would recognize one or both of us immediately and ask us how we were feeling. I was sad that I wasn't in the country when Iain passed, and I'd like to acknowledge the people, Agnes, Steve, Dave, and many others that took the arrangements as to where we are now, through some adversity, I understand, and quite a long arduous task. So well done, guys. Thank you very much for taking that on, and I wish that I'd be here to work with you guys on that. I don't have the technology that you have, David, so I'm back to speak. To Iain's wife, Roberta, and his family in Canada, my sincere condolences for your loss. I'm happy that Iain made the journey to Canada about 5 weeks, couple of months ago, to see the family and for the family to meet him and see him after quite a long time. Roberta, Iain spoke about you and the family often and loved you all very much. He also used to talk about his English heritage, and I know that your decision to scatter his ashes back in Cumbria, I believe, where he was born, would make him very happy indeed. Iain, my friend, rest in peace. I will miss you. Thank you.
Asanteni kila mmoja alifika hapa. Poleni na nashukuru kila mmoja alifika hapa kwa ajili ya kutufariji na kuwa pamoja nasi katika kipindi hiki kigumu Mr. Iain Turner was a wonderful person who made a positive impact on all those around him. His helpfulness, his kindness, his love and humor are traits for which we will always remember and cherish by all those who knew him. He was not only a good advisor, but also a role model to many. He was my mentor and a great father as well. I hope the memories of his life and legacy he leaves behind will provide comfort and strength to all those who mourn his loss. Iain was a great human with whom one could ever come across. We will miss his adventurous life, storytelling, great sense of humor, his love for Africa. He was also an amazing chef. He taught us great dishes and left us with a lot of recipe that we will continue cooking and always remember him. He was truly a great supporter to his family and friends, as well as a very responsible human being. He was really responsible, very responsible. I would like to thank everyone who is here with us today. Thank you for your comfort and prayers. However, I would like to mention the following people in particular. Iain, best friend from High Table, from Jackie's, the Formula One crew, whom Iain spent most of his social life with, for all the support they've shown us. A number of those friends departed already ahead of Iain and are likely to be delighted to reunite with him once again. Steve Holmes, David Sawe, Danny McKenzie, for being there with us through this difficult time. I would like to thank doctors and management of London Healthcare, especially Iain's doctor, Godfrey Magoti. I'm not sure if he made it here. Dada Rosie, who was living with us and helping us with the household. Thank you very much, Rosie. Dr. Jaffet and management of Ilala Afya Clinic, Muhimbili doctors and staff, Iain's family, Mama Roberta, Iain's children, Brian, Keegan and Gillian, the grandchildren, Brina, Iain and Nikias, and the whole family, and the whole Turner family and in-laws for being here with us through everything and the support they have given us from Canada to here. All the support we received from the Canadian High Commission in Tanzania and from their head office in Canada. I would like to thank my family. My mother is here and all my relatives who are also here. My friends, Tumpale and Rose, my colleague at work, my boss, Wilfred and Noel Magoti, and my co-worker. Also management and staff and neighbors from Capital Apartments in Masaki, where Iain was living for the longest period of time. All the companies that Iain worked with. I've seen his friends from Golden Coach, Geita Gold Mine, FCO, Shumba, and many others. Thank you very much. Whenever Iain went to bed, he would say, "Siku mwema na ndoto njema," in that fluent Swahili, and meaning good night and sweet dreams. As we now lay him down until we meet him again, I'm a Christian and I believe in life after death. So let us all say grace and please accept my deepest condolences during this difficult time we have. I offer you the scripture from Romans 8 verse 3. Thank you. Naomba tuseme neema. Neema ya Bwana wetu Yesu Kristo na upendo wa Mungu Baba na ushirika wa Roho Mtakatifu kaenda sote sasa na hata milele. Amen.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to say something before we conclude? Anybody know? allow me to give concluding remarks and then we will close the coffin and proceed. As we come to the end of this solemn event, I would like to take a moment to express our appreciation for the presence of each one of you here today. In fact, just a short while ago, Steve and I were wondering whether there'd be more than 5 people here, so we are very impressed by the level of support that Iain is receiving today. Your love, support, and kind words have been a source of comfort and strength for the whole family of Iain Peter Turner. We want to express our gratitude to the staff here at the Hindu Crematorium who have worked tirelessly to ensure that this final farewell to our dear Iain is conducted with the dignity he deserves. We also extend our gratitude to the management and staff of Mumbini National Hospital, Aga Khan Hospital, Mental Health Center, and the Afya Ilala Clinic, whose compassion, professional dedication, and support were deeply appreciated. Their kindness, professionalism, and attention to detail have made the difficult time a little easier for all of us, and we are grateful for their caring efforts. Iain's memory will surely live on in our hearts and minds. And as we leave this place and return to our lives, let us uphold whatever we learned from him and the love he gave to us. May Iain now rest in peace, and may his spirit continue to guide and inspire us in the days ahead. Though we feel sadness and grief at his passing, may we continue to cherish the relationships that we had enjoyed with him, as we do with one another, sharing compassion, kindness, love, and good humor. On behalf of his family, I once again thank you all for being here and for showing your love and support for Iain. Wish you all safe travels, and may we all find comfort and peace in our hearts as we move forward with our lives. Amen. With that, I think we can close the coffin and let the crematorium proceed with their work. Very good. We're about to close the coffin, so come and do the last respects. Tunataka kufunga sanduku, kwa hiyo njoo upitie. you.